Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. So in this video we'll learn how to get a data from a database using Spring Boot application and MySQL. Okay, so now I'll just move from this slide to our direct Eclipse ID and we'll learn how we can able to do this operation. So let's get started. First, what we need is we need to set up a project in our Eclipse IDE. Okay, so here for the project, for Spring Boot project, I'm using Eclipse IDE, and also for the database, I'm using MySQL Workbench. Okay, so I'll show you step by step how we can able to achieve this. All right. So first and foremost thing, what we have to do is we need to set up the project in your Eclipse IDE. So first, what you do is just open your Chrome browser or any of your favorite browser and go for start.spring.io, or you can directly type something called spring. Okay, spring initializer, spring initializer. So you'll get the first link over here. So when you click on that link, so this kind of dashboard or this kind of website you're gonna see. So here you need to give your project information, everything. Okay, so as of now I'll keep my project information as, let's say, I need to insert a data. Okay, or I need to get a data, or I need to delete data, whatever it is. So we need to have an example, right? So we'll take an example of an employee. So we'll store, or let's say, we'll keep it as employee itself. So we'll store the employee data, we'll get the employee data, we'll update the employee data, everything. First we need to set up the project, right? So I'll mention this group name as, okay, let's say com.employee, com.employee, employee. Okay, com.employee. So project name, okay, project name I'll give as mighty. Okay, mighty, mighty, our channel name. So mighty. So description I'll keep it same thing, and here the package name I'll mention as com.employee. I don't want mighty, so I'll just keep as com.employee. All right, so let this be jar, or you can select the var as well, and here I'm selecting the version 8. Okay, so we need some dependencies. Okay, so when you are when you want to perform CRUD operation on your DB, means you need certain dependencies. Okay, so we'll add one by one. All right, so first dependence will be like this. So first, let's say spring web. Okay, spring web is the first one, and second one, let's say JPA. Okay, spring data JPA SQL. As you can see, preset data in SQL stores with Java persistence API using Spring Data and Hibernate. So JPA, and one more thing you need, MySQL driver. Okay, MySQL driver is required, and let's say what else we need is, I'll also include Spring Boot Dev Tools. So I'll tell you what are my this Dev Tools as well. Okay, so I select this one. Alright, so I think this much is good. Let me check whether I have imported everything. Okay, yeah. So I have imported what all the dependencies are required to achieve this project or achieve this example. Okay, so very simple thing. Now click on generate. Okay, a zip file will be downloaded. Okay, that we need to extract it, and then we need to import that project in our Eclipse ID. So as you can see here, a zip file came over here. I just click on save over here. Alright, so here you can able to see the zip. So let me extract this files, or extract the zip file. Okay, like this. So just the right button, extract files, and click on okay. So here you can able to see a mighty folder is there, is a project name is mighty. Okay, so I'm going to close this, and also I minimize the browser as well. Okay, so now I am in my Eclipse ID. Okay, so you need to import your project over here. So let's click the right button in the package explorer, or you can able to go for file as well. So just directly click on right button over here. Okay, this is going to open option to import. Okay, just click on import. Alright, so import, probably you won't getting like this. Suppose if you are using for the first time, just if you don't see this maven, search maven like this. Okay, so it will be like this. So expand this and click on existing maven projects. Alright, so select this, click on next, and here you need to browse your that mighty zip folder which I have just extracted, right? So click on browse, and in my case it's been extracted in download section. So this is our mighty folder, I'm gonna select this and click on select folder, and this pom.xml has to come. And by the way, I have already explained in my previous videos as well, pom.xml is like a heart of your project. Okay, yes, so make sure it is checked and click on finish. So this will take some time to import. As you can see at the bottom right side over here, the import of this project has been started. So let's this get imported. In the meantime, we'll go and we'll create a database. Okay, we'll create a database and we'll create a table. Alright, so let's get redirect to our MySQL workbench. By the way, suppose if you didn't install MySQL workbench and also Eclipse ID in your system, means I have given the download and installation link in the description as well, so you can go and check both that. Alright, so let's create a new database. So let me check whether I have any employee database. Already I have an employee database. So first let me delete this employee database. Okay, so it's very simple. Just remember, okay, delete database. What's my database? Actually it was already existent, so I'm going to delete that, and next I'm going to create it new. Okay, data. Okay, so okay, we should not use a delete, it's drop. Yeah, drop database employee. Okay, so the statement has been executed. Alright, so as you can see at the left hand side, you cannot able to see that employee DB is there. Okay, so let's create a database first. Okay, so you can able to write it through query, or you can use the UI as well. So just let's write a query. Okay, so create. Okay, create create database and give a database name. So as of now, employee is a database name. Okay, just give a comma and run this statement. So our database will be created over here at the left side. Okay, so if you cannot able to see this, means just click a right button over here and click on refresh all. Alright, so now you can able to see your employee DB. So just click a right button and make this as default. Alright, so now we have created our database. So let's create a table. Okay, just click a right button, create table. Alright, so with the UI only we'll just create our entire table. Alright, so let's do it quickly. So this will take a few more seconds to load it. So here it's been loaded, and I'll keep my table name as employee data. Okay, employee, or let me give in the lowercase, employee underscore data is my table name. Alright, so let's give one by one value. So first I'll give employee name. Okay, let's say employee name. Alright, so employee name, it is, since it's a character, I'll make sure it is varchar, and I'll remove this as well, it's not required as of now. Okay, yes, so int not null, yes, fine. So employee name and this is varchar. So let me keep it as varchar and give a size of 45. Alright, so next let's say employee mail ID. Okay, we're just taking an example, right? So employee mail ID, it's also of type varchar, and contact number, so I'll keep it as number. Okay, so number I'll mention it as int. Okay, alright, so name is done, mail ID is done, number is done. So what else? Let's say state. Okay, let's take state. From which state the employee is, and what else we can able to add over here? Employee name, mail ID, and number, state, and what else we can able to add? Let's say shall we include country? Country is not required. So job role. Okay, let's keep it as job role. Alright, so job role, what kind of job is doing. Alright, so this much is enough as of now. So we're gonna perform all the correct operation for this. Okay, alright, so let's just click on apply and click on apply again and click on finish. So your table will be created. Let me close all of this. If you refresh over here, at the table over here, if you expand this, you can able to see your employee data table. So now we have successfully created a table. Alright, so now we'll go to our Eclipse ID again. We'll check whether our project has been imported. Yes, our project has been imported successfully. So here you can able to see mighty project. So expand that. Alright. So expand this as well. So here you can able to see a package which is named com.employee. So in this particular package itself there will be a mighty application.java. So this is the main file. So through this file only our application is going to start. The reason, so this file has a main function, okay, and it is running spring boot application dot or spring application dot run. All right, so very simple. It's the main function or main function file. All right. So first, what you have to do means you need to create few packages. Okay. So now what you want to do is just select this source main Java. Just click a right button and make sure you need to follow the package name in a group way. So new, click on package. Okay, so package name, let's say you need to follow this package name itself. So com dot employee dot controller. So controller is where you're gonna create all your APIs. So just click on finish. So a new package has been created. Okay, so let's create 1 2 3 4 3 more or 4 more packages. So I'll tell you why we need to do everything. So let's create a one more package over here, com dot employee dot, let's say service finish. Okay, so one more package, new and package com dot employee dot service IMPL. Service IMPL means service implementation. So click on finish, and the last package will be util, db util, where we're gonna give the db connection file or connection, giving connection for your database. So let's say com dot employee dot, let's say db util. Okay, db util. Alright, so we have created all 5 packages or all extra 4 packages. Alright, so before getting into this, just expand this source main resource. Okay, so open this file, application.properties. Alright, so open this. Alright, so now what you have to do means, I'll just give you this code, just paste this code directly over here. Okay, so just no need to get confused over here. What it is means, to give a application means mentioning your database connection directly through application.properties. Okay, so this will, or this project directly will connect to your database over here. So if you observe over here, the URL, this is the driver, your name, and the username of your MySQL, and the password of your MySQL workbench. Okay, and it's not required to remember this as well. Reason, this you can able to type directly in the internet that what is the db connection or application.properties file for connectioning of your spring boot application to MySQL workbench. You can directly get this information, so no need to remember this. All right, so there is one more changes where at the URL position you need to mention your database name. So what's your database name? It's your database name was employee, right? So let's type it as employee. Okay, so I hope it is clear, and just click on save. Alright, so now we'll give a DB connection to our database, and then we'll run our application whether it is working fine or not. Alright, so just click here we have DB util. Just create a new file in DB util. Alright, so just click a right button, go for new, and go for class. Alright, so here we have name. So I'll mention as let's say, let's just keep it as db util itself, db util. Okay, and click on finish. A new class has been created inside com.employee.db util. Alright, so we'll give the connection one by one. So concentrate everyone. So private, so every time connection has to be private. Alright, so private connection, this is a connection, and the object of connection is connection in a smaller case or lowercase. So first I'll keep my connection as null. Alright, and also I'll keeping my connection as static. So why I'm keeping as static? Because the connection always will be same. It is not going to change all the time, right? So that's why I'm keeping the connection as static. And here you'll get an error, so that you need to import this. So just hold your mouse over there and click on import connection, which is from java.sql. Alright, just select this one. Alright, so connection has been imported. Alright, so let's write a method. Okay, let's write a method over here. Okay, public this method is going to return a connection. So public static connection get connection is the method name which I am giving for this. Alright, so here you are getting an error because you are returning connection, so you need to return the connection over here. Alright, so return connection and give a semicolon. So actually it is returning directly, so we need to give a direct connection to our database. Okay, so let's say now understand carefully. If connection is not equal to null. Okay, if the connection is not equal to null means, if the connection is not null means connection if already exists means you can directly return the connection. Okay, if the connection is already exists means you can directly return the connection. If suppose connection is not established, so else, so let's give a connection. Okay, so now carefully try to understand this. String, okay, so driver is equal to, so this is the actual driver which you can able to get directly from the internet as well. So instead of going to internet, so here we have already included the driver over here, right? So okay, wait, we have included username and password, so driver we need to give directly over here. So this is our driver. So let's say com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. Okay, driver, and give a comma, semicolon. Alright, so next string URL, okay, is equal to, in double quotes, here I have already mentioned the URL, so I'll just copy this directly, okay, and I'm gonna paste it inside this. And also I'm adding few more things, that question mark use SSL means a security, a little bit security, so that I'm mentioning as false. Okay, is equal to semicolon. Alright, so next thing, so next string user is equal to, by default this will be root. Okay, and let's give a password. String password is equal to, so my MySQL workbench password is 123456789. Make sure which password you give, you need to enter that password. Okay, don't enter 129. Alright, yes. So now observe over here, I am trying to give the connection, it will throw an error. I will show you. So class dot for name, okay, class dot for name, inside this give your driver. So now you can able to see like this. Okay, so now we are going to give a connection over here. See, before trying to give a connection, it's already throwing an error, because since, see, DB normally it won't throw an error, it is going to throw the exceptions, or database exceptions, or MySQL exceptions. So we need to handle those exceptions. So how to handle those exceptions? So we need to enclose this entire thing in a try catch block. So just hover your mouse and it shows add throw declaration or surround with try catch. So let's surround with try catch. Okay, done. So I'll remove this extra comments as well. So class for name driver. So here I'm going to give or establish the connection over here. So connection which is null for the first time. So connection is equal to, let's say, driver manager dot get connection. So you need to pass few arguments. First one will be URL, second one will be user, and third one will be password. Right? So at the end give us semicolon. Alright. So let's see, again we'll get an error. because this is throwing an exception of type class not found exception. So when you are giving connection to your database means it has to throw one more kind of exception which is called SQL exception. So that also we need to add it. So just hover your mouse over here and add a throw declaration, or you can able to surround it with try catch again. So instead of doing that, I'll just click on add throw declaration, that will be added to our function directly. So as you can see, here you can able to see throw SQL exception as well. This has to be handled. Okay. So now let's save everything and just run this application whether the connection is getting established or not. Okay, or if we getting any error, we'll try to solve that. So just run this application and click on Java application and click on OK. So at the console your application will get started within few seconds. So we'll wait that until this gets started and we'll see whether if we get any errors or not. If we get error, we'll try to solve that. Okay. So here you need to select your application. So in my case, if the application name is mighty.application, I believe, yeah, mighty application. Okay, com.employee. Just click on OK. In the console, the execution or running of your project will get started. Okay, so as you can see in the console, it started over here. It started from Spring. Okay, so your application getting started one by one. It will take a couple of seconds, or yeah, couple of seconds. It won't take much time. And yes, application almost started, and you can able to see Tom can initialize with the port number 8080. Means your application has been started with the port number 8080, and you can see at the last started mighty application in this many seconds. Means when it took 24 seconds. Alright, so now we have directly gave the connection to our database and we don't have any errors or any exceptions as well. So our application is working perfectly. Alright. So now everything is set and we have left out one more thing that I have forgot actually. So we need to create a one more package called com.employee. So just select source main Java, just click a right button, go for new and go for a new package work here. So let's say com.employee.model. Alright. So this model is going to reflect your DB. Suppose if you want to get some data from merging two tables means here only you should define the model. To perform any CRUD operation which you are getting any data or inserting any data into a database, that every model has to be created in this particular package. So we'll understand one by one. So just click a right button over here, go for new and go for a class. So just create a new model called employee. So just click on finish. So what are the variables which you have defined in your DB, so in your database table, so that you need to type it over here. So we have mentioned in the table attribute as employee name for the first time, employee name. Second, we had string mail ID as well, so give a space over here, mail ID. So next we had int number over here. So next we have string, so we have given as state and also we have gave string job role as well, so job role semicolon like this. So now you need to add all the getters and setters, to string and also to constructor, parameterized constructor and the default constructor as well. So just click a right button over here and go for source and go for generate getters and setter. Just select this and click on select all and generate. Alright, first step is done. Just click a right button, go for source again, go for constructor using fields and generate. And one constructor is done, which is the parameterized constructor. So next we need one more constructor which is superclass constructor, or which is our default constructor. Go for source, generate constructors from superclass. So generate it and click on generate. And the last we have source generate toString. That's all. Alright. So now click on generate. So now every setup. So now we'll see how we can able to get a data from a database. So if you want to get a data from a database means some data has to be there in our table, correct? So I have already added 3 data in our database. I'll just show you. So in the employee data table, I have already added 3 data over here. And how to add this data? So I have directly added through a query. So this is the query to insert a data in our table. So I just added a query over here for your understanding purpose. So let me run this query. As you can see, we have only 3 data over here, which is Doraemon, Shinchan and Nobita. And if you run this, so and if I run select star from employee again, you can able to get the latest data as over here like okay. Alright. So this is how we can able to insert the data with the query. So for your understanding purpose. So now as per the video, we need to get the data from the database itself. Correct. So now I'll go to my code again. So let me bring this down like this. Okay. And I'll close all of these files. Alright. So here what I need is in the service we have already created a file called employee service, correct? So now, okay, let me open this file. So now I need to define, okay, I need to define a method to get a data from a database, right? So we need to define work here. So let's say to define a method, so I'll just give as public, okay, public, and also I'll mention a return type as list. Wait, first let me write the function name. So let's say get employee data. Okay, employee data, this is the method over here, and return type I'll mention as a list. So the reason because as if you remember what in by array in general, so array is gonna store the data which is of type homogeneous or same type of data. Like suppose if the array is of type integer, array in that particular array we can able to store only the integer type of data. If the array type is of type string, we can only store string type of data. So for that reason we are using array list. Okay, we are using array list. The reason because in array list you can able to store any type of data. So that's the reason we are using array list. So I have mentioned as list work here, and here I am specifying the type. So you can make int, string, anything, but I am not mentioning the type int or a string. The reason because, but we should mention the type, right? What type we need to mention? So here we have an employee, correct? So in this employee we have string, int, everything, right? So I mention this type of data has to be stored in this particular list. So I'll mention as employee. So now you'll get an error over here. So you need to import this list over here. So if you hover your mouse over there, okay, so yes, if you hover your mouse over there, you'll get an option to import the list. And again also you need to import this employee as well from the model. So if you hover your mouse again, and you can able to import this employee as well. So like this, correct? So now everything is done. Oh yes, everything is done. So now there is one more left over here, because see, here we are trying to achieve the abstraction, right? And one more thing, see, here defining a method over here means how can a controller is going to understand to call this particular method. So we need to mention this service as a repository. Okay, repository, got it? And you should import this as well. That's all. So if you're getting error, just hover your mouse over there and you'll get an option to import this. So like this, clear? Yes. So now we'll save all of this and we'll go to our employee service IMPL package. So here we have defined the method, but we need to write the method, correct? Yes. So now go to the service IMPL, just click a right button over here and go for, yes, just click a right button and go for new and go for a class. So here I am mentioning as employee. Here we have gave employee service. So I'll mention as employee service IMPL. Just click on finish, right? So here employee service IMPL class has been created. So now what we have to do? What are the methods which we have defined in the employee service that we need to implement work here? So I'll mention this as implements employee service, right? So you'll get an error. The reason because you need to import this employee service as well. So just import it. All right. So they'll get one more error that what are the methods which you have there over here. So that will be implemented over here. So hover your mouse and click on unimplemented methods. So what are the method which you have written in the employee service? that will be overwritten over here. Okay, I'll just remove this comment over here, and as you can see, it is going to return a data type is list. So why now at the end we need to return a list, correct? But we don't have a list over here. So whatever the data which we are getting from the database, we'll store it in a list and then we're gonna return a list. Clear? So concentrate here. Okay, so now first we'll create a list to store all the data in a list. Okay, so let's say I mention as before starting this, see, this is implementing the service, correct? So you need to annotate this as service and let's import this service as well. Done. So let's type it like this. So static I'll mention as list, and also what type of data we need of type employee. So employee, got it? So I'll mention as employee list is equal to new array list, simple. Clear? So now import this array list as well. So let's import this list like this. Yes, import array list. Clear? Yes, now it's good. So now, and also I'll mention something as auto void. Okay, I'll tell you this auto void in a while. Okay, in the controller section. So but as of now, just type it over here. I'll tell you what is this auto void is. All right, so now we have a list, but we need to store a list from the database. So we have already gave a connection over here in the DB util. So I'll just directly call it something like this. Let's say connection connection is equal to, okay, yeah, connection is fine. Let's give a semicolon. So let's import this connection first. Okay, like this. So connection, yes, imported. All right, so now it's done. So now see, the connection has to be called automatically whenever this file is getting called, right? So that's what we are going to do. We are going to create a constructor over here and we'll call the connection over there. So let's create a constructor quickly. So public, okay, public over here. So next, let's say employee service MPL. Let me copy from here itself and paste it over here, open and close parenthesis, and like this. So constructor has been created. So now we'll call the connection. So connection will be, here we have our DB util, correct? So I'll directly type it as DB util dot, see, when I mention dot, see, in the DB util file, we have already written this get connection method, correct? So you can directly call it over here. So DB util dot get connection and give a semicolon. So we need to store this connection in a connection variable. So I'll mention as connection is equal to like this, and you'll be getting an error because, so normally SQL is not going to throw you an error, it is going to throw you exceptions, right? So now hover your mouse over here and you can able to say add throw declaration. So just click on add throw declaration as well. So now you can able to see SQL exception. So if the connection is not established, it will show what kind of exception is this. Clear? So that's all about at this part. So now we'll see how we can able to get a data, right? So now over here, let's say type it like this, use prepaid statement. Okay, prepaid statement. I'll create an object of prepaid statement over here like this. stmt is the object. So is equal to, from the connection, from the database connection, okay, from the connection dot prepare statement. Inside this, we need to write a query. So what is the query to get our data? It's just select star from employee table, correct? So what's your table name? Employee data, right? So select star from employee data. This is our query name. Okay, so this much is enough. So I'll give a semicolon at the end and here you will get an error because you need to import this prepared statement as well. Got it? So like this, just hover your mouse over here and you'll get an option to import this. So if you don't get, just click on this small little bulb and click on this. All right, so prepared statement has been imported. And also now even here you will get an error. The reason because you need to, and since you're getting the data from the SQL, means from the database, obviously SQL will not throw an error, it will throw an exceptions. So hover your mouse over there and add a throws declaration. That's all. Clear? So what is this now? So let's hover your mouse again. So it's showing as exception, remove exception from the employee data. So now it is not allowing to do like this. So I have removed over here, but still the error comes. So for this, what you have to do, you need to enclose this in a try catch method. So surround with try catch method and it is going to fix your issue. That's all. Let me remove this comment as well. So here we have a statement. So now what we need to do, we need to execute this query, correct? We need to execute this query. So this query data will be there in the statement. So now we'll execute this statement, stmt dot execute. Okay, I have written in uppercase over here, I'm sorry for that. stmt, oh again, yeah, stmt dot execute query, execute query, that's all, and semicolon. So now whatever the result which come from here, see, suppose if you run select star for employee data, means obviously we'll get the employee data, correct? So whatever the data comes over here, that when to store it in something called result set, because whenever the data will come, it will be in terms of a table, rows and columns. So that's why we'll be storing in a result set. Result set rs is equal to like this. So import this result as well, and now we'll be very good. So like this, result set, import result set, simple. Clear? Yes. So now see, I'll go to my this one, what is it? Workbench. So if I run select star for employee data, obviously we'll get in a table format, correct? So this is the first row, second row, third row, fourth row. So now you can able to understand we need to iterate one by one, correct, to get the data. So that's why we'll be using something called while loop. While rs dot next. So rs dot next. So rs means which we have defined over here, which is rs. So it is gonna read the first row and the second row, third row one by one. So that's why rs dot next. Clear? So now let's read one by one. So let's say if we read means where we need to store, correct? At the end we need to store it in a list. So I'll mention something like this. So here, okay, here before this, when the application gets started, I'm gonna create a customer. Oh, okay, wait, I'll create inside this while loop itself. See, we have employee. I'll create an object called emp is equal to new employee, like this. Okay, so now what are the data which I'm getting from the database, that I need to set in an employee object. This object I can able to directly add it to my list. How? I'll show you now. So employee dot set, what is the first value will come? It will be employee name. So set employee name. Inside this we'll get the data of the first row. So rs dot get string, because name will be of type string, so that's why get string, which will be the first column, it will be 1. Got it? So same again, employee dot set, what's the second value? So let's check in our table. As you can see, employee name, second will be mail id, third number, fourth state, and fifth one will be job role. So second will be our employee, what's employee mail id. Okay, employee mail id. So like this, set employee mail id, rs dot get string of the second column. Clear? So now again, employee dot set, it was a number, so number, so rs dot get int, number is of type int, so that's why it's int. And at the last we have employee dot set state, so rs dot get string of 4, Got it? So at last employee dot employee dot set let's say job role rs dot get string of file. Clear? So everything is good now. All right, so now here see all our data will be stored in the employee object, correct? So it's very simple now. So this is our list. So we can mention something like this: list dot add, send that object emp. Okay, emp is the object. Clear? At the end give a semicolon. That's all. So now what you have to do, everything will be added to the list. Just return the list at the end. Clear? Our coding part is done. So now what we need to do, we need to call this method. That's all. That is the only job which is left. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll go to our controller section. Okay, go to our controller packages. So we don't have any controller, so let's create a controller over here. Click on new, click on class. All right, so I'll give a controller name as employee controller and click on finish. All right, so see, I have created a controller over here, but how our Spring Boot application is going to understand whether it is a controller or not. So now we need to annotate this as a REST controller. REST, oops, there is a spelling mistake over here. REST controller, and just import that as well. So it will be done. Okay. So now, so we from our employee service, okay, from our employee service we need to call this method, correct? So we'll create this with the object. So let's say private employee service. So this is an object emp service. Emp service is a object which I am creating for employee service, like this. So let's import this as well. Okay, so okay, over here, yes, imported. All right, so now what we'll do, now it's very easy. Let's create a API. So public, okay, so this is going to return a list. So I'll mention as return a list of type employee. Okay, let's say get employees. It's a method which I am giving. All right, so here let me import this list as well. First the list comes, so next the second one will be our employee, so I'll import employee as well. So now it's very simple. So return this dot, okay, this dot employee service. See, from this particular service I want to call what? Get employee data. This is a method which I want to call. But when you try to call this, means it is going to throw you one null pointer exception. The reason, because you need to mention something called auto wire. Okay, go here, auto wire. So why you need to mention this auto wire? The reason is, so when you mention this auto wire, see, this particular object is going to call this, correct? So we have not written body over here. So through a wire from here to there, through a wire, just auto wire is something like through a wire. So when you call this, automatically the service of this will be this one, correct? Get employee data, right? So when the control call this one, this will be called automatically the implementation part over here. So that's why we need to mention that service as an auto wire. Clear? So auto wire connecting the wire, very simple. So now everything is done. Just we need to create an API. All right. So here just mention as at get mapping, or you can also include request mapping as well. It is going to work. So I'll mention is as, let's say, slash employees. So when I hit slash employees in the endpoint, so I can able to get the employees data. So we'll check one by one. So import this get mapping as well, like this. Cool. So now save everything, select your application and run your application again. Okay, so it will take some time to start. In the meanwhile, okay, I'll just show you when the application gets started properly. I'll just show you quickly. All right, so I'll open my browser. Okay, so I'll open a fresh new tab over here. Alright, so this is the new tab. I'll just check whether the application got started. So as you can see, application is getting started now, and by default your application is going to start in the port number 8080. Remember, by default your application is going to start in the port number 8080. Okay, so I'll go to my browser. Let's say localhost colon 8080. What's our API name? API name was employees, correct? So just click on enter. So now you should able to get your employees data over here. See, I can able to get my employees data, which is I have mentioned Doraemon, Shinchan, Nobita and Augie. So these are the data which I have already stored in my database. So that data is getting fetched, and few people might get or the data would be visible something like this. The reason because I have added an extension called JSON formatter. JSON formatter is the extension, so that you can able to see your data something like this in a JSON format. That would be very easy to view the data. Got it? Yes. So now one more thing what you need to understand means it's very simple. See, this data you are getting from your Spring Boot application, same data which is exposing now, okay, this we need to capture in an Angular, so we can able to display however we wanted in our front end application. So as of now this is a back end application, that's all. Clear? So I hope you understood how you can able to get a data from a backend application, means from a database through your backend application, which is Spring Boot. Okay, so if you have any questions you can drop it in the comment section, and we have already a Spring Boot series in this channel, so please go and watch that as well. So let's meet in our next video. Until then, take care, goodbye and bye bye.